stands on the roof of his farm shack in uniform. He salutes as the royal train rolls by. Royal visits have an important function because the crown is much more than a legal abstraction. It is personified by a living, breathing human being, the reigning monarch. The symbolic values of the crown are represented in someone we can see and talk with, someone who can share with us our aspirations, our dreams, our achievements. Following George VI and Queen Elizabeth's tour of Canada in 1939, royal visits become more frequent thanks to the development of air travel. Princess Elizabeth pays a call in 1951. She returns 8 years later as Queen Elizabeth II. Cross-country tours like these begin to give way to more specific, more regional tours, often initiated by the provinces themselves. In 1978, for example, Saskatchewan invites Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip to stop in on their way to the Commonwealth Games in Edmonton. They accept, and the province rolls out the red carpet. In 1987, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip are invited to share in the celebration of the Saskatchewan Legislative Building's 75th birthday. Members of the royal family have visited many Saskatchewan towns and cities. Royal visits have given prestige to worthy causes, such as healthcare, education, multiculturalism, and the arts. The Queen and her representatives act as patrons of these causes. Princess Anne is president of the Save the Children Fund. The Duke of Edinburgh Award is a sponsored achievement program for young people, and Prince Edward is patron of Regina's Globe Theatre. The Governor General and Lieutenant Governor are patrons of many organizations. The Queen may grant the title Royal to worthy organizations. Since the first treaties, there has been a direct link between the Crown and First Nations people. Members of the royal family have visited many First Nations communities in Saskatchewan. In fact, treaties are viewed by First Nations as agreements with the monarch, executed on her behalf by the federal government.
The reception that Her Majesty gets when she comes to Canada, and I experienced that from coast to coast and in the north, and it really is something that only a Governor General, I suppose, could really see, but to see the enthusiasm that the people have for Her Majesty was very heartwarming.
One of the most visible and rewarding roles of the Crown is conferring official honors of the state. Through the Queen, the Governor General or the Lieutenant Governor, the community as a whole recognizes outstanding individuals, people who typify the qualities and virtues symbolized by the Crown. People like the recipients of the Saskatchewan Order of Merit.
Vital Morin has dedicated himself to the development not only of his hometown and the North, but of the Métis people of Saskatchewan.
Several national honors are presented by the Governor General, such as the Order of Canada and the Order of Military Merit. The Royal Victorian Order is presented by the Queen.
Mr. Van de Kerkhove tried to rescue an unconscious man from the bottom of a well in Fleming, Saskatchewan.
There are also national decorations for bravery. Here, Doug Van de Kerkhove from Fleming, Saskatchewan, receives the Medal of Bravery from the Governor General.
It's an extraordinary collection of very ordinary Canadians doing quite extraordinary feats. And you get really emotionally taken because the 30, 35 persons who come forward and their citation is read, and you hear the extraordinary things that they have done on the spur of the moment. If I sometimes ask them, did you think what you were getting into? And to which they usually answer, I didn't have time to think.
Saskatchewan's two provincial honors, the Saskatchewan Order of Merit and the Saskatchewan Volunteer Medal, are presented by the Lieutenant Governor in the name of the Queen.
We just have a marvelous resource in Saskatchewan called people, and every person that has been given the Order of Merit has been a well-deserved honor, and I think that the presentation of the award is just a wonderful way to thank people for what they've done for our province.
The role of the Lieutenant Governor may have changed since Confederation, but the role of the Crown has not. Responsible government, constitutional monarchy, and the Crown are woven into the fabric of Canada's history. The Crown is one of the keys to Canada's identity. It holds a place in our past and our present. But what about our future?
I think our system has great advantages, and it has taken us quite a long way, and the future, I think, is bright. I think that part of the problem always is to remind people just of the advantages of our system. We tend to be understated about some of the strengths that we have, some of the things that are important in Canada. And our system of government, our relationship with the Commonwealth, terrific advantages for our country that should not be underestimated.
We do have a wonderful country here, and the Crown and the role that it's played in the formation of our government, I think, is one of the reasons why the United Nations, on a continuous basis, has declared Canada as the best place in the world in which to live.
My grandparents came to Canada at the turn of the century. My father was only 1 year old when he came to Canada. They left Eastern Europe because they wanted an opportunity for their children to get a good education. They wanted to live in freedom. To me, the Crown is the glue that holds our system of government together.
We occupy the second largest country in the world. People come to Canada from all over the world because they want to live here. They want to be a part of a country that accepts their language and culture, encourages their individuality, their differences. They want to be Canadian citizens.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
People with one thing in common, a basic political ideal of our society, responsible parliamentary government, embodied in the modern Canadian Crown.